The young and the restless Spoilers Shock Tracy had always known that appearances could be deceiving. In the quiet solitude of her private moments, she discovered a truth that threatened to shatter the fragile balance of her world. Hidden deep within Alan's phone lay a trove of secrets, photos, messages, notifications, that painted a damning portrait of a man whose charm masked a sinister reality. Yet, for reasons she could neither fully explain nor accept, Tracy hesitated to report these secrets immediately. Rather than rushing to expose Alan, she found herself caught in a maelstrom of conflicting emotions and difficult decisions about her future. As Tracy wrestled with the weight of her discovery, her mind was torn between two stark paths. On one side lay the seductive, yet treacherous allure of a life steeped in deceit, a life where love and marriage had been built on lies. On the other lay the promise of justice, a future where Alan would be held accountable for his actions, and the truth would finally emerge into the light. In the depths of her heart, Tracy yearned for a life unburdened by secrecy and manipulation. She dreamed of freedom, of the day when she could step out from the shadows of a relationship built on false promises and betrayals. But the price of truth, she feared, might be too high. After much deliberation and with her conscience as her only guide, Tracy made a fateful decision. She would no longer remain silent. Instead, she chose to confide in Chance, a man whose name, like a spark of hope, resonated with the possibility of a fresh start. In a private meeting filled with tension and uncertainty, Tracy laid bare every secret she had uncovered. She presented the incriminating photos, the cryptic messages, and all the notifications from Alan's phone that, together, formed an undeniable mosaic of treachery. For Tracy, the act of confession was both cathartic and terrifying. It meant risking everything to expose a man who had so cunningly concealed his true nature. But Alan, ever the calculating strategist, had anticipated a move like this. His intellect and foresight allowed him to prepare for nearly every possibility. The moment Tracy began to reveal the secrets, Alan's mind raced to counteract the inevitable fallout. He knew that an arrest would not come simply from the evidence in Tracy's hands, it had to be orchestrated with precision. Alan had never been one to act impulsively, he always maintained a delicate balance between charm and ruthlessness. In his mind, allowing such a dramatic turn of events to unfold without a meticulously crafted plan was simply not an option. Unbeknownst to Tracy, a darker fate loomed on the horizon. In the web of secrets she had uncovered, Alan had predicted that someone like her, someone who held so much sensitive information, would eventually become a target. The next kidnapping was already in motion, and Tracy, with all her newfound knowledge, was marked as the next victim. Alan's machinations were complex and far-reaching, designed to keep him 2 steps ahead of any attempt to bring him to justice. Her inexperience in the treacherous world of deceit put her in a precarious position, where every decision she made carried dangerous consequences. Chance, the confidant to whom Tracy had turned, understood the gravity of the situation. But he was not one to act in haste. Instead, he preferred a cautious approach, convinced that more concrete evidence would be necessary to dismantle Alan's elaborate facade. "We must be patient," Chance counseled, his voice calm yet determined. "If we rush this, Alan will slip through our fingers, and worse, he might ensure that those close to him suffer in the process. We need to build an airtight case, one that leaves no room for doubt." His measured response did little to comfort Tracy's anxious heart, yet it resonated with the logic that had always guided her in moments of crisis. As the days passed, Tracy found herself trapped in a precarious limbo between silence and revelation. The evidence in her possession was explosive, capable of unmasking Alan as the mastermind behind a host of misdeeds. Yet, the knowledge also placed her in grave danger. She began to fear that her own future was becoming entangled with the very man she now sought to expose. In the quiet hours of the night, haunted by the shadows of her past and the uncertain promise of tomorrow, she wondered if the cost of truth was too steep. Could she risk her safety, her very life, to ensure that justice prevailed? Meanwhile, Alan continued to weave his intricate plans. Every move he made was calculated to preserve his freedom, to protect the life he had so carefully constructed. His ability to predict potential threats was legendary, and he moved like a phantom in the darkness, elusive, dangerous, and always in control. With every passing moment, Alan's anticipation of Tracy's actions grew stronger. He knew that the evidence in her hands could spell his downfall, if not countered by an even more damning set of documents or testimonies that he had meticulously hidden away. For him, the impending legal action was not a moment of reckoning, but rather an opportunity to tighten his grip on the narrative and further discredit anyone who dared challenge him. The tension between the desire for truth and the need for self-preservation intensified. Tracy's internal battle was mirrored by the external pressures that now encircled her. With every secret revealed, the stakes grew higher, and the threat of retribution loomed ever larger. Was it worth the risk to expose a man whose cunning had already defied the ordinary bounds of justice? Could the fragile alliance with Chance, built on mutual distrust of Alan's reign, be strong enough to withstand the onslaught of a powerful enemy determined to silence them both? In a twist of fate, the stage was set for a dramatic showdown, a collision between raw truth and calculated deception. The legal authorities were beginning to piece together disparate fragments of evidence, and murmurs of Alan's misdeeds began to circulate in hushed tones among those who had once been his loyal followers. Yet, as the net slowly closed around him, Alan's masterful control of the narrative ensured that nothing would be allowed to fall into place too quickly. Chance, ever the strategist, insisted that every move be measured and every piece of evidence verified before taking further action. For Tracy, the path forward was shrouded in uncertainty. She realized that if she were to truly free herself from the shackles of deceit and secure a future built on truth, she must be willing to risk everything, even her life. The realization was both exhilarating and terrifying. She was no longer just a passive keeper of secrets, she had become an active participant in a dangerous game of cat and mouse, where each misstep could have irreversible consequences. Yet, even as the danger escalated, there remained a flicker of hope. The very evidence that had once burdened Tracy with fear now represented a potential catalyst for liberation. By standing up to the forces that had manipulated her life for so long, she could redefine her destiny. The question was whether she had the strength to face the impending storm, to confront Alan and his web of deceit with unwavering resolve. In the coming days, the tension would reach a breaking point. Alan's downfall, meticulously anticipated by Chance, was drawing nearer with each new revelation. The legal complaint that Tracy was poised to file would not only serve as a vindication of her courage but also as a declaration that the truth, no matter how deeply buried, would eventually surface. Yet, as Chance warned her, the battle must be fought with patience and precision. A rushed move might only inflict more pain and suffering upon those caught in the crossfire. Thus, the intricate saga of betrayal, love, and hidden agendas continued to unfold. Tracy, armed with explosive secrets and a newfound determination, stood at the crossroads of a future that promised either redemption or ruin. Alan, with all his cunning and foresight, maneuvered behind the scenes, ever ready to counter the forces aligned against him. And Chance, the reluctant hero in this unfolding drama, carefully bided his time, gathering the additional evidence necessary to ensure that justice would be served on his terms. In this tumultuous tale, every whispered secret and every carefully hidden piece of evidence was a reminder that truth is a double-edged sword. It can liberate or destroy, empower or endanger. For Tracy, the journey toward exposing Alan was not just a battle against a master manipulator, it was a quest for personal redemption, a step toward reclaiming her identity and forging a life free from deceit. The road ahead was perilous, and the choices she made would echo far beyond the confines of her troubled existence, influencing the fates of all those entwined in this dangerous game. Only time would reveal whether the righteous path she had chosen would lead to a future where justice reigned or if the shadow of Alan's influence would continue to cast its dark pall over their lives. In the end, the war between truth and deception was far from over, a relentless struggle where every secret uncovered was both a victory and a new wound waiting to be healed. In a scene that could have been ripped from the pages of a crime thriller, Chance's eyes widened in disbelief as he reviewed the damning photos on the evidence board. Every snapshot, every timestamp, left no doubt in his mind: Alan was not the man he claimed to be. Instead, he was the elusive kidnapper who had haunted their lives, a master of deceit whose carefully constructed facade had finally begun to crumble. Yet, amid the chaos of revelations, Chance faced a dilemma. How could he capture Alan without inciting further uproar, without leaving any trace of the dark underbelly of his own hand? Determination set in as Chance's mind raced through the possibilities. With a cold resolve, he reached into his pocket and retrieved a pair of handcuffs, an instrument of justice he had hoped never to use in such a public spectacle. In a moment of shocking decisiveness, he lunged forward and, before anyone could react, clamped the cold metal around Alan's wrists. The sudden act sent ripples of astonishment through the assembled crowd. In the hushed silence that followed, every eye was fixed on the unfolding drama, a tableau of betrayal, retribution, and the unmasking of hidden truths. Alan's reaction was immediate and explosive. His face contorted with fury as he bellowed, "I haven't done anything wrong." His voice, once calm and deceptive, now trembled with indignation. The handcuffs clamped tighter around his wrists seemed to symbolize the tightening grip of the truth he could no longer escape. But while Alan raged at his perceived injustice, it was Tracy's voice that pierced the tension like a dagger. Standing boldly before him, Tracy's eyes burned with a righteous fire as she screamed, "You are nothing but a kidnapper and a fraud." In an act that shocked everyone further, Tracy hurled Alan's engagement ring across the room. The glint of the shattered symbol of false promises flashed in the light as she declared with unwavering conviction, "Get out of Genoa." The ring, once a token of supposed love and commitment, now lay discarded, a poignant metaphor for the broken trust and shattered illusions that had plagued their lives. Chance, observing the tumultuous scene, felt an inexplicable sense of vindication. Here was a man who had sown chaos and inflicted immeasurable pain on so many, and now, in the midst of his own undoing, he was being held accountable. The arrest, though unorthodox and executed in a moment of raw emotion, was a turning point, a bold step toward unraveling the tangled web of lies that had long obscured the truth. Yet, as the crowd murmured in mixed disbelief and approval, a nagging question loomed over the scene like a dark cloud: could anyone truly save Alan from the inevitable consequences of his actions? Amid the cheers and cries of retribution, a subtle tension remained, a tension that hinted at deeper, more complex machinations at work. Alan's arrest, while satisfying the immediate demand for justice, was only one piece of a larger puzzle. His unyielding, her heart, burdened with the weight of the revelations that had upended her life, beat with a mix of relief and sorrow. The decision to expose Alan had not been made lightly. It was the culmination of countless sleepless nights, whispered confidences, and a desperate yearning for a future untainted by lies. Yet, even as she watched Alan being led away in handcuffs, a part of her wondered whether justice, as it was being meted out in this raw, unfiltered manner, could ever truly heal the deep wounds inflicted by his betrayal. Meanwhile, the dynamics among the other characters remained as volatile as ever. Nick, whose own heart had been torn between conflicting loyalties and desires, stood silently at the edge of the gathering, his expression inscrutable. His internal struggle, torn between past promises and the pull of a newfound love, echoed in the tumultuous atmosphere. The revelation of Alan's true nature added another layer to the already intricate web of relationships. While Nick's heart leaned toward Phyllis, the chaos of the moment forced him to confront the harsh consequences of a life built on secrets and half-truths. In the midst of the commotion, whispers began to circulate. Some argued that Alan's arrest was a long overdue reckoning, a necessary step to cleanse the festering corruption that had long plagued their community. Others, however, cautioned that the repercussions of this act could be far more far-reaching than anyone had anticipated. For while the arrest might bring momentary satisfaction, it also opened the door to a deeper investigation, a relentless quest to uncover the full extent of the criminal networks that had allowed Alan to evade justice for so long. As the police took Alan away, Chance and Tracy shared a brief, solemn glance. There was an unspoken understanding between them, a recognition that their battle was far from over. Alan's arrest was merely a chapter in a larger saga of betrayal, love, and the inexorable pursuit of truth. In the days and weeks that would follow, as more evidence came to light and more secrets were unearthed, each of them would have to reckon with the consequences of their choices. The call for justice had been sounded, and the ripples of this fateful night would echo through the corridors of power and deceit for a long time to come. And so, as the curtain fell on this dramatic episode, the question lingered in the air like a haunting refrain: could anyone truly save Alan from the spiral of his own making? Or was he doomed to be consumed by the very darkness he had nurtured, a darkness that threatened not only his own freedom but also the fragile peace of everyone caught in the crossfire? In the end, the scene served as a stark reminder that in the intricate dance of fate and consequence, every action has a ripple effect, a reminder that sometimes, the pursuit of truth is as dangerous as it is necessary, and that even the most cunning deceivers cannot escape the long arm of justice forever.